Hello, hello. Thank you so much for tuning into this ASMR true crime soft spoken video. I want to start off this video with such a deep appreciation for you guys. I cannot even express how much everything means to me. I might be biased, but I honestly feel like I have the best people watching, supporting, commenting on this channel. Like, you all are so incredible. I hope you feel so appreciated here in this space, and also wherever you need to feel appreciated. I hope you feel that, because we all need to feel that. And just reading your comments, you guys are such good people, good company, so thank you. Like, I had an 11-hour work day today, and I wanted to make a video, so this has been such a good experience. Thank you. So really quick, just for myself and anyone else who needs this, if I'm experiencing stress, it means I'm experiencing life, I'm interacting with life, and I care about life. Okay. Can you guess my profession? Just kidding. I will answer that in the Q&A though. Okay. So let's get into the video. Today we're going to be talking about the disappearance of Crystal Rogers and the murder of Tommy Ballard. Crystal Rogers was born in 1980 in Kentucky to parents Tommy and Sherry Ballard. She was from Bardstown, Kentucky, which is an idealist little town that was once ranked number 8 in the most beautiful small towns in America. She was described as an amazing mother. She worked 2 jobs just to provide with her kids with anything they needed. She was a giving person to everyone she knew, and she was very close with her friends and family. In 2015, she was 35 years old and a mother of 5 children. She was living with her boyfriend and the father of her 2-year-old son and her other children. On July 3rd, 2015, she was seen with 3 of her 5 children at a local shopping center. At 4:36 p.m., she buys groceries, toys, and a children's t-shirt. That afternoon, she tells friends she's having a date night with her boyfriend, Brooks Hoke. He was a real estate agent in the local area. They had a quiet dinner at night at home with their son, and then afterwards they drove to Brooks' family's farm to do some chores needed to be done, such as feeding the animals. Security cameras from neighbors captured his truck arriving at the farms around 7:20 p.m. and then leaving for the night at around 11:55 p.m., which is a really long time. After a 20-minute drive home, Brooke says he goes right to bed while Crystal stays up to play games on her phone. Brooke says he never saw her go to bed. When he wakes up the next morning just after 7 a.m. on July 4th, he says his son was in bed, but Crystal was gone. He thinks nothing of it initially, because Crystal often goes to her friend's house to hang out. And like, if showed up at my friends' houses at the butt crack of dawn, they would not be very happy. Throughout the day, Crystal's family tries to reach her, but are unable to. They are hoping her phone is dead or she's celebrating 4th of July and busy. But by Sunday, July 5th, it's been 24 hours since anyone has heard from her. Her sister rides by her house and notices her car isn't there. But it's still so bizarre that Crystal went this long without calling anybody back. It just wasn't like her. Her mother decides to go to the police department to file a missing persons report. Meanwhile, her brother decides to drive to Brooks' farm to check in if they are there, with no answers. At 3 p.m. that Sunday, her mother files the missing persons report. The word spreads throughout the small town, and within hours, there are tips. Her ex-husband informs her sister that someone had called him, saying that there was a car that looked like hers sitting on the BG, which is the Bluegrass Parkway, which runs right past Bardstown across central Kentucky. Crystal's family rushed to mile marker 14, where they are told the car is sitting there on the side of the road. It is Crystal's car, a maroon 2007 Chevy Impala. It has a flat tire and there's no sign of Crystal. It's bizarre because if she needed help, she would have called her father or friends, family. She would have contacted someone. The area of her car is also located in a residential area, which made it possible that she would have knocked on someone's door for help or someone would have seen her. As her family examines the car, they notice sitting in her passenger seat is her purse, cell phone, and diaper bag, and the key is still in the ignition. This does not feel right, so they immediately ask the sheriff's department to come to the scene. As the police look at the scene, there's no evidence of foul play or any signs of struggle inside the car. By Monday, July 6th, she's been missing for 2 full days. Police in the community are intensifying their searches in the nearby woods and surrounding area. The sheriff holds a press conference, pleading for anyone to come forward if they have information. Her family offers a $40,000 cash reward to anyone who has information. Crystal's boyfriend, Brooke, was asked not to come by the sheriffs to avoid controversy. The sheriff does state during this conference that Brooke has been cooperative in the investigation, but despite this, her family and friends are disturbed by his behaviors. Brooke never showed up on the first day of searching for Crystal. As police are trying to find any leads or evidence to suggest what happened, Crystal's family begins believing that her car was abandoned by someone else due to it looking like it was staged. So as they look into anything that could help in this case, her family states that Wednesday before she was missing, she was in the car with her sister after taking the kids to the zoo. Crystal had said that she couldn't take it anymore and she was planning on leaving Brooks. So of course the family suspects the possibility that he had something to do with her disappearance. He seemed very calm after she'd been missing. The fact that he didn't say anything about her being gone till the following day didn't really help when she was initially missing. It's just all sketch. On July 8th, police bring Brooks in for questioning. He is cooperating, but after 45 minutes of calm conversation, he becomes agitated. This is all on camera, so you can see him saying, like, this is all starting to get really silly. The detective then starts pushing in on why he didn't find it alarming that she was missing and he woke up and wasn't alarmed by this. The detective then discusses the discovery that police made of a 13-second phone call that Brooks received around midnight on July 3rd when they were supposed to be leaving the farm. He states that he doesn't remember the phone call or who it was. So during this interview, the detective actually dials this number with Brooks in the room, and a man who does real estate business with Brooks picks up. The man says he did call Brooks the night looking for a number related to some rental property. But Brooks had told him that he should call Crystal because she is the person who keeps that information. So, obviously, this is very strange, because why would this dude need to call Crystal if she's sitting in the truck with him on the way home? Brooks really does not have an answer for this. He just kind of says, well, if that's what he says happened, then that's what happened. And then, in the middle of the interview, Brooks's phone rings. It's his brother, Nick, who is an officer with the Bardstown Police Department. You can see him kind of getting agitated with the phone, on the phone with his brother. He states, he's innocent, but he knows that Nick had told him that innocent people get jammed up, and if Nick is telling him to get up and leave, then he'll get up and leave. So after this phone call and about 2 hours of interrogation, the police let him go. Crystal's family was continuously pressuring Brooks to be more involved in this disappearance. So the next day, on July 9th, he agrees to do a phone interview with her family for Nancy Grace. On this interview, he admits the relationship wasn't perfect and it had its stressors. He also says police gave him a polygraph test and the results were inconclusive, but he adamantly denies any involvement. Police are continuing to dig for any further details. They discover surveillance cameras from the night of July 8th that showed right after police interviewed Brooks. Brooks was with his brother Nick, the police officer at their family farm. Brooke leads the way, and Nick follows close behind in his police cruiser. On the next day, July 9th, police search the cruiser. They complete a forensic check and discover biological fluids in the trunk of Nick's car. Nick is brought in for questioning. He claims that he has no idea how or why the forensic evidence is in his trunk. He maintains he had no involvement in the disappearance of Crystal and that his brother would never hurt anyone. They give Nick a polygraph test, and he does not pass the test. And the ones that he shows deception is the questions about Crystal. So 3 months later, in October of 2015, Nick is fired from the police department, accused of tampering with evidence connected to Crystal's case. On the same day, the county sheriffs make an announcement stating they believe Crystal is dead. The sheriff does not state any evidence to why, but does state that Brooks is a suspect. An exhaustive search begins shortly after on the 240-acre farm, that belongs to the Brooks family and the surrounding lakes in the area. They bring in search dogs, search teams, dive teams. During this, there is a little bit of concern with a string of unsolved murders that occurred in Bardstown. In 2013, a much-loved Bardstown police officer, Jason Ellis, is assassinated on his way home from work, shot multiple times in the chest. A year later, a school teacher named Kathy Netherland and her teen daughter were brutally slaughtered in their home. People begin to wonder if these murders are connected, and Crystal's murder is a part of this connection as well. What's additionally heartbreaking for this family is that in 1979, Crystal's father's sister was murdered at 19 years old in Bardstown. So the idea that something similar happened to Crystal is just devastating. 16 months after she went missing, on the morning of November 19th, 2016, Crystal's dad is about to go hunting on the family property with his 12-year-old grandson when Crystal's mother gets a phone call from the grandson, who is hysterical. He says Papa got shot. Tommy Ballard is dead after being shot in the chest. He had been shot once, but police cleared the grandson of foul play and also ruled out suicide, as Tommy's gun was never fired. This grandson was Crystal's oldest son, which I can't even imagine just experiencing those tragedies at such a young age. It's heartbreaking. Crystal's mother is convinced it was premeditated and connected to Crystal's disappearance. She says that Tommy told her before he was killed that he was being followed. She suspects he would only be followed by people who were connected to Crystal and her disappearance. A white Buick becomes an important piece of evidence when a private investigator found that one was parked at Brooks's farm the night that Crystal disappeared. Nick and Brooks' grandmother, Anna Whitesides, owned a white Buick but sold it several weeks after Crystal went missing. Authorities issued a subpoena for the 82-year-old to testify in front of a grand jury. The subpoena stated the car may have been used to dispose of a body cleaned and sold in an attempt to prevent evidence from being discovered. Anna refused to testify in front of a grand jury. Attorney Jason Floyd said her statement to police and the car buyer's information was enough. A judge later ruled to keep all future proceedings involving Anna confidential. In August of 2016, police searched the residence of Anna and Nick for DNA. By the following summer, police had executed 70 search warrants, but still no answers about her disappearance or her father's murder. So after being named a suspect, Brooks made very limited comments to the public. In June of 2018, reporter Fallon Glick, what a name, manages to catch him on the phone. When she gets him on the phone, he says that he's been advised to just stay quiet, and that has worked out great so far. This is a very odd thing to say, that it's worked out great so far and the mother of your child is missing. It's just this really bizarre phone call. And it feels like to the family that he's just bragging at this point. The FBI has conducted 2 searches in Bardstown. The first search occurred during August of 2020, and the second was in August of 2021. The second search took place in the Woodlawn Springs subdivision, where Brooks Construction Company built several houses shortly after the disappearance of Crystal. The FBI has not disclosed any details of their findings at this location, but on August 27th, 2021, they did announce that an item of interest had been recovered from the concrete at one of the homes. During this most recent search, the FBI also stated they know there are people in Bardstown who have information on this case, and added that it was time for those people to come forward. 8 years have passed, and there are still no answers. Her body has never been discovered, and no arrests have been made in her case or her father's murder. The town continues to put up signs as reminders of Crystal and Tommy. The Ballard family is determined to bring whoever is responsible for their cases to justice. If you have any information related to the disappearance of Crystal Rogers, please call the FBI tip line at 1-800-CALL-FBI or visit www.crystalrogertaskforce.com. I didn't know that was the FBI's number, but I got that from FBI.gov, and I didn't realize that they had a 1-800-CALL-FBI number. I don't know why I find that funny, I'm sorry. So there's a little bit of theories in this case, but the first one and the most popular, and in my opinion the most likely, is that maybe Brooks found out that Crystal was planning on leaving, or they got into a fight, and this led to foul play and her murder. It's suspected that maybe it did occur on the farm, and then Brooks drove back to his home with his son without Crystal when he got the phone call, and he told a colleague to call Crystal, and he couldn't put her on the phone because she wasn't in the car. It's then, maybe after this interview with police, that he and his brother either hid the body or re-hid the body or hid evidence so that she wasn't found, and they maybe used his brother's police car. I also want to point out, I I don't want to say surprised, but I guess surprised and really happy to kind of hear about how the police department handled his brother. There's always like that concern that like when it's some involvement with a police officer, like will the actions be made that needs to be made. In this case, Bardstown Police Department were on it. His ass got fired, they brought him right in, like they grabbed his car right away and did the forensic investigation, like they were on it. So I'm so happy that they didn't do that bullshit. The other theory is that maybe she met with foul play while she had a flat tire on the side of the road, but it still feels very odd that she never called anyone and that no one saw anything. You know, if there was some kind of sighting of her or she had reached out for help, but there was none of that, so it just doesn't feel like it adds up. I also want to add that her leaving, like the time between like around midnight to 7 a.m. when he says that they got home and she was up on her phone, it's just a very odd time to leave. And if she was like going to her friend's house like he said, why didn't she give any of her friends a heads up? I didn't see that any of them were like, oh yeah, she called me at the butt crack of dawn and said she was coming over. And why would she bring a diaper bag when she left her son at home? So it does kind of feel like someone took her regular belongings, dumped them in the car, and staged it. Cough, cough, Brooks. Anyway, you know, they say if it quacks like a duck. The other possibility is that she purposely ran away. However, this is greatly disputed by loved ones due to her love for her children, the closeness that she had with her family and friends. It just doesn't feel right. So that is the disappearance of Crystal Rogers and the murder of Tommy Ballard. Let me know what you guys think of this case. I'm sorry if I had a little bit of jumbled words. Like I said, I just did 11 hours at work, so I probably shouldn't record a video after I did that, but I wanted to get it out. I might have a little break. I'm going on a destination wedding, so I'll be gone for a little bit, but if I can squeeze another video in, that'd be awesome. But my goal is to try to get one soon after I get back. But I really hope you guys are relaxing and having a good day or night wherever you are, and I have a good day tomorrow, and I'm going to see you in my next video.